that card for a couple $100. I'm going to be able to upgrade this radio, and
I wouldn't worry about
it'll be all the better
in the winter.
It'll be all the better. I just wish that I had the KX3. I would have been perfectly happy with that $900 unit. Maybe bought the $600 amplifier that you have to pay to get to 100 watts. And that's the way I would go if that KX3 was available in the first place. I never would have stopped off at this K3. I'll turn it back to Peter, KC2QIM, KD8IU.
Stanley's always looking for something else, Dan. Don't you have something really to tell us that's meaty this morning, like, I don't know, something about Pharaoh and eating his corn?
All right, KC2QIM. So I'll take it in the gap here. I'm not going to stay very long because I've got some things I have to do at 11 o'clock specifically, but I have some preparation before that phone call. So I'm going to take leave of you in about, I'm looking at the clock here. I say 8:45 I'll clear out. Good morning to you, Whit, and hope you had a nice weekend. Well, Stanley, I would say that, you've got your station, you're getting close to where you want it to be, and, just be happy with it after it's all settled in and you get all the technology straightened out and you've got the receiver capability that you need. I mean, I think there's less emphasis on transmit capability with the exception of the audio files that spend hours and hours and hours, thousands of hours tweaking and retweaking and trying to figure out how to peak their audio so it sounds like a broadcast station in a very narrow bandwidth of SSB. Whenever I hear those kind of cues, I just tune away. These guys are constantly, doing this with their audio and that with their audio. And my attitude is I just plug a microphone in, and if the radio like this 756 has a treble and bass capability, I just set it for what it is. If it sounds good to people, I just leave it alone. You can monkey around with audio all you want. Quite frankly, guys that sound too bassy get lost in the distance and the noise anyway. Their audio should be crisper and cleaner for the noisy conditions of ham radio. But I was looking around on the upper bands the last couple of days, and 10 meters is dead, and 12 meters was dead, and 15 meters was half dead, and even 20 meters was like a little dead. Probably I don't stay up that late. I'm sure 20 meters is a little bit more open on the evenings now, but I would say that ham radio the last few weeks for me has been like a dead zone. Very few propagation opportunities to run any DX stuff. So it looks like, at 40 meters is noisy at night with so many nets, so it's so sickening to listen. I turn the radio on, I tune through, and I say, that's the end of that. Nothing worth, spending or wasting your time on. But the morning raps that we have here are very interesting. They're informative, and they're controversial. And by the way, I was going to ask Whit, I went into EHAM after a few months of not even going on EHAM. I perused through EHAM and went through the forums, and it looks like you've been posting items on EHAM, and a couple of guys have been going in there trying to tear you up. So, as a matter of fact, I think even my call sign was mentioned by one of those schmucks, basically saying that you were QRMing him when he was trying to listen to some BK. And all that. I think you know which one I'm talking about. And then he said, somebody said, I've been, what was the thing they posted when they said, I've been K1LEM'd, or I've been W1IT'd, one of those. That was funny. I don't bother going on there anymore. I guess when I was at work and I was a little bored at work, I went on there and I posted stuff, and I had my opinions out there, and I noticed there's a bunch of predators on the websites, on the forums that don't like, they'll find an excuse anytime you say something, they'll find an excuse to attack you. So there's some real scum of the earth on those sites. So the question to you there, Whit, is why do you continue to, you must be self-flagging because why do you continue to post stuff on there knowing that people are going to attack you and come out of the woodwork and beat your head in? K1LEM, KC2QIM.
Or whatever, they begin to howl, they begin to claw, they begin to throw carriers on, they begin to launch these personal attacks on people. This is the kind of mindset they're into. Like you. They just launch these personal attacks, rather than talking about the issues involved. Like last night, I got into this huge fight on 185. It wasn't even a fight. I was trying to call Harry, A1FXK, because Harry's trying to lose some weight, and he's a nice guy. He produces TV shows for his public TV channel, and I've actually seen the guy, and he's overweight, but God, so am I. But, we all want to lose weight, so he's trying to lose weight. He's trying to give up smoking. He's out in the morning doing what I should probably be doing. He's out running, or not running, but, walking. So he's trying to take care of himself. He's trying to take care of his health. I wanted to find out if he had seen the the video that I suggested to him. So I go on there last night and I called K1FXK. Well, he didn't come back. So I called one more K1FXK, but I didn't relieve the frequency. I was just trying to see if Harry would get his act together and get on there, because frequently around 6 o'clock he will get on there. And suddenly this idiot from Michigan goes on, and now we're having the freenet, and now the freenet begins. This is the Mrs. Net. This is the Mrs. Net, and we're taking check-ins on the freenet. Wow. If you're having a freenet, sir, why do you need a net? I mean, just like you're taking check-ins, isn't that what a net does? Begin the net. But the point that I was trying to make with this idiot was that he didn't ask if the frequency was in use. He didn't. He just came right on frequency, and then all the little animals that are out there supporting him. Get out of here, W1IT, Gary David. Get out of here, W1IT. What are you doing? You're destroying our net. You're destroying our net. These people, Peter, they are just like little children. They are like little children. And it distresses me to think that they are Americans. It distresses me to think that they have the power to go out and vote. This is the thing that really sort of gets me. Anyway, K1LEM.
Well, okay. Well, we already attracted the guys that without any souls to the frequency. It's almost like turning on a light bulb there, Whit. And when you turn the light bulb on, the mindless moths and bugs come to the light bulb.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Whenever you talk on that subject or whatever, the mindless moths come to the light bulb, which is the frequency that we're on. So, anyway, I want you and Stanley get into it. I wish you guys would be a little bit more respectful, or at least you would give Stanley a chance to talk. But Stanley, you got to keep the transmission shorter.
Stanley,
that's the other thing. So far, Stanley's been good this morning. But why don't you guys don't get into a fight? When I say get into it, I don't mean getting into a fight.
I basically.
How come I don't have rocks on, so I don't know when you're talking.
How could I get into a fight with Bozo the Clown? I'm not going to get into a fight with Clary Bell, the Lord Almighty. K1LEM.
All right, okay. Well, you guys should just bury the hatchet, you know?
There is no hatchet.
Bury the hatchet and not be so controversial.
And 6 consecutive times, and I am going to have to call it 7 times.
You're very critical of Stanley, and Stanley, goes along and gives it back. Before you know it, you got little turf wars going on. It's not required, not necessary.
Yeah, that's right, Stan. It isn't necessary.
Peace, brother, love and peace. Listen, I got to get going. I'm going to set myself up for an interview on the phone this morning, and I have to get some reading done and catch up with some material. So, 73 to you, Whit. I'll look for you tomorrow.
Radio terrorist.
We'll use this as a secondary frequency. Seems to be pretty clear most of the mornings if there's too much action on 185. And Stanley, I'll say 73 to you for now.
Yeah, it sure was total CB action by W09.
Stanley, you're selling the boat and preparing it to be sold, or are you just preparing to get it in the water, but you're not selling the boat? I didn't understand that. Your explanation was was either somebody was helping you get the boat set up for the water, or you were selling the boat to them, and you're going to still do that and get it ready.
Why would anybody want to own a boat? This is something I don't understand. Even if I liked water and boats, I'd never own one. I'd rent one.
Well, I can't answer Peter's question here, I guess.
Go ahead. No, I'm listening.
Yeah, go ahead, Stanley. Answer Peter's question.
Okay, Peter, it's both. It's both. Let's see. I want to get this thing fixed up. It's got a nice old horse claw trailer sitting there in the other garage.
You told me that the trailer was all messed up. You had to get the trailer pulled out, all that stuff. That's pretty cool.
Okay, and also, I got a repair. I find a nice piece of teak wood, and we're going to fashion a new seat in the thing out of teak wood. And let's see, replace a tire. I'll probably get 2 new tires, and then I'm going to take the thing down to one of the nearby lakes. Okay, not the one that's nearest us, but the one next to it here. And there's a sailing club, and I'll teach these 2 brothers how to sail. Their parents know how to sail. Their parents are very busy right now, and they want me to teach them. So it's both, Peter, KD8IU.
Is it a sailboat, Stan? I apologize.
Are you actually selling these kids the boat?
I'm sorry, Peter. Are
you selling the boat?
Okay, what about the boat, over?
Are you selling it to these guys?
No, I'm giving it to them, Peter. I'm giving it to them. Because they got a high degree of interest, and I just want to get
Very nice. Well, you must know the parents pretty well.
Has it got holes in the bottom of it?
All right, Stanley, I'll say 73. I'm going to clear now.
No.
And why don't you and Whit have a civilized conversation? And Whit, don't be so critical of Stanley. Okay? Be nice to Stanley. KD8IU and W1I, and here I go. I'm starting to do it. And K1LEM. This is KC2QIM. I'm clear.
Just remember,
and 73 guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Efficiently under Part 97. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to repeat, reiterate, or in any way, you're not required to give the call sign of who you're talking to.
I understand that. I understand that emphatically. I just did that as a courtesy to acknowledge that I was talking to you in my own way.
She's basically gone. She's not going to have the job anymore, and they're going to do her functions another way. So I hate to tell you your girlfriend is leaving, but that's inevitable, I suppose. Where was I? Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about Lee Harvey Oswald and the fact that, do you honestly believe Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK? That was the question I wanted to talk about. K1LE.
My answer to that, and you can chew on it, is I believe he was one of the shooters, but not all of the shooters. KC2QIM.
Yeah.
Okay, and my view is I don't dare speculate. There's not even enough information there that sticks out to even do scientific conjecture. Okay, at that point, and I've seen lots of views of materials on both sides, including the recreations of the shot angles from the book Repository and the grassy knoll theory and the two-shooter theory and the declarations it was impossible for one shooter, and I think there's some possibility of that scenario being very likely. That it's more. I think it's possibly likely. But that's about all I could say. I can't go to conjecture and begin to compile evidence, which conjecture method does. That I tend to I believe that it is more indicative that there's a higher likelihood of two shooters than one. That's about all I could come up with so far, but I have nothing to back that up. It's all at this. If I were to back that statement up and say that's what I believe, then I would be into gross speculation, which is nonsense. Over.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to go down that road because that road's already the forensics of this thing has been studied by PBS. It's been studied by this one. It's been studied by that one. And some of the evidence that's out there is done by quite credible sources. However, what I was going to say was that there's an odd thing about JFK, and this has something to do with the nature of reality, Stanley. I hope you're sitting down for this. My conclusion about JFK's assassination was that it was foreordained and that it was going to be no matter what. Now, remember that the morning of his death, he was told by the FBI, and not the FBI, the Secret Service, etc., to be cautious and so forth. And there's good credible evidence that he jibed back to them, well, I understand that somebody could shoot me in the head. I mean, it was as blunt as somebody shooting me in the head. But then again, what are we going to do about it? Which sounds very fatalistic, right? It just sounds like he knew he was going to die that day. There was a part of him that knew that, and that it was going to take place. Now, you could say, well, that was just a bunch of, it was just him talking, you know. But isn't it odd that he would go to Dallas and drive in a limousine with the governor and actually speculate about his own death? Now, he did speculate about being shot that day. In the morning, he made that sort of fatalistic statement, I know I could be shot, and it was very specific, shot in the head. And there's good evidence that he did say that. He did say that. There are people that had conversation with him that remember that. So indeed, he did know about his own death approaching. There's no question about it, whether it be subconscious or otherwise. Now let's get on to the forensic evidence. How could Lee Harvey